They did it for a laugh, a cruel prank at the expense of the man everyone overlooked. To them, he was just the janitor, the quiet guy who cleaned up their offices after hours, invisible until something needed fixing. But to Samuel Wright, that job was everything. It was the only way to keep food on the table for his teenage daughter after his wife's illness had taken everything else. The bills, the debt, the loneliness, they had stripped him of pride, but not kindness. He smiled through it all, greeting the same co-workers who barely noticed him. And when those same people invited him out for a surprise blind date, he thought maybe, just maybe, someone finally saw him as more than the man who mopped their floors. The restaurant was upscale, glittering with glass and light, filled with the sound of laughter and clinking wine glasses. Samuel had borrowed a shirt from his neighbor and polished his old shoes until they shone faintly in the dim light. He was nervous but hopeful. He arrived early holding a single flower he'd bought on his way, a tiny act of faith that maybe this night would be different. If you believe that kindness and humility always win in the end, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, because sometimes life's most beautiful moments start with someone else's cruelty. He sat at the table, waiting, his heart thudding as the minutes passed. At 7:15, the waiter approached. "Sir, your guest just arrived." Samuel stood, brushing his pants nervously, and then froze. The woman who entered wasn't what he expected. She was elegant, poised, and carried herself with quiet strength. Her dress was simple but flawless, her hair tied neatly, her gaze calm yet curious. She smiled softly as she approached. "You must be Sam," she said, her voice warm. He nodded, stunned. Yes, ma'am." "You must be Anna?" She laughed gently. "Just Anna, please." They sat down, and conversation flowed surprisingly easily. She asked about his work, his daughter, his life, and she listened. Really listened. It had been years since anyone had done that. Her eyes didn't flicker with pity or superiority, only genuine curiosity. Samuel spoke about his late wife, how they used to dance in the kitchen after long days, and about how hard it had been raising his daughter alone. Anna smiled tenderly. "You must be a wonderful father," she said softly. He smiled back. "I try. She's the reason I keep going." What Samuel didn't know was that at a nearby table, 3 of his co-workers sat hidden behind a column, stifling their laughter. They were the ones who'd set this up. A cruel joke to see how long it would take for a woman like her to realize she'd been set up with the janitor. They planned to record it, to capture his embarrassment and share it for entertainment. But the night didn't go as they expected. As the dinner went on, Anna noticed the glances, the muffled laughter. She saw the phone half hidden under one of the men's jackets, and she understood everything. Her smile faded slightly, replaced by a calm that was sharper than steel. "So," she said suddenly, setting down her fork. "Do you know why we were paired tonight, Samuel?" He frowned, unsure. "I don't. I thought it was a mutual friend." "It wasn't," she said quietly. "It was them." She tilted her head toward the corner, where his co-workers froze mid-laughter, realizing they'd been caught. Samuel's face turned pale. Shame flooded through him as he muttered, "I should have known. I'm so sorry, Miss—" "Don't apologize," she interrupted softly. "You didn't do anything wrong." She stood up, her chair scraping lightly against the marble floor. The entire restaurant fell silent as her voice rose, not loud, but clear enough for everyone to hear. "I'm Anna Sterling," she said, her gaze locking on the men at the corner. "CEO of Sterling Enterprises, the company where you 3 are currently employed." The color drained from their faces instantly. Whispers spread through the restaurant like fire. She continued, calm but firm. "You thought humiliating someone who works for you would be funny? The man who cleans your floors, empties your trash, and makes sure your workspace is spotless so you can do your jobs comfortably?" Her tone sharpened. "Tell me, what kind of man finds amusement in degrading another human being's dignity?" The 3 men stammered, trying to explain, but she raised her hand. "Enough." She turned to Samuel, her expression softening. "And you, Samuel, you didn't deserve this. You deserve respect. You deserve to be treated as an equal." He stood there, overwhelmed, struggling to speak. I just came because I thought maybe someone saw me for more than what I do." Her voice trembled as she replied, "I do. I see you, Samuel. You remind me of my father. He was a janitor, too. He worked every night to give me a chance to study, to dream, to build something better. Without him, I wouldn't be here. And tonight, watching you, your humility, your grace, I see him again." The restaurant was silent. The air felt heavy, charged with emotion. One of the waiters subtly wiped a tear from his cheek. Anna turned to the men once more. "You're all fired. Effective immediately. Not because you embarrassed your boss, but because you failed as human beings." The three stood in stunned silence, unable to speak. Security escorted them out quietly. Then Anna turned back to Samuel, her voice gentle again. "Please sit. Dinner's on me." He hesitated. "Miss Sterling, Anna," she corrected. "Please. I insist." They sat again, and she smiled faintly. "You know, I've met a lot of people in boardrooms and conferences, but I've never met anyone as genuine as you. People like you remind me why kindness matters more than titles ever will." He smiled shyly. "You're too kind, ma'am." "Not at all," she said. "In fact, I'd like to offer you a position at Sterling headquarters, maintenance supervisor. Better hours, better pay." "You deserve it." Samuel blinked in disbelief, tears gathering in his eyes. I don't know what to say." "Say you'll take it," she said softly. "And promise you'll keep being the man your daughter can be proud of." He nodded, voice breaking. "I promise." From that day on, Samuel's life changed. He started working directly under Anna's supervision, quickly earning everyone's respect, not just for his hard work, but for his integrity. And Anna? She never forgot that night, the night a cruel joke turned into a lesson in humanity. Months later, during the company's annual gala, Anna shared the story publicly. "I learned something powerful that night," she said to a room full of executives and employees. Titles fade. Wealth fades. But character, real, quiet, humble character, that's what changes the world. She looked at Samuel in the crowd, smiling proudly. And it's men like him who remind us what leadership really means. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Because the true worth of a person isn't in their title, but in their heart. And before you go, comment below. What would you have done if you saw someone being humiliated for doing an honest job? Because sometimes standing up for kindness is the most powerful thing you can do.